Ever feel like you're working so hard, but never quite prospering? Maybe, deep down, you're not lazy, you're just out of alignment. Today, we're diving into a powerful piece of shadow work in the 14th pattern of change, where we uncover why we compromise and how to reclaim the inner fire that generates true abundance. This isn't the law of attraction fluff. This is soul level alignment. I'll first start with a parable called the ember in the clay pot. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. There was once a small village nestled between the old mountains. Every home was built with clay, strong, humble, and handmade. In one home, a potter named Kabi worked with devotion. He didn't make decorative pieces for the nobles. He made fire vessels, simple clay pots that held embers, used to pass warmth from home to home. One day, he shaped a pot unlike any other. It had a cavity deep in the center, just the right shape to hold an eternal ember. Kavi felt something sacred in it. The elders scoffed. "It's too deep," they said. "It'll never hold a proper flame. You should stick to the way we taught you." Afraid of losing respect, Kavi placed the pot on a forgotten shelf. He told himself, "It's better not to stand out." Seasons passed, then came a storm, the great winds of the mountain gods. Fires were extinguished, cold swept through the village. And when no one could relight their hearths, the only ember that remained burning steady and protected was inside the strange, deep pot Kavi had forgotten he made. That day he carried it from home to home, quietly, humbly. He didn't speak, he just lit each fire one by one. Not because he wanted recognition, but because he remembered his true work was never about approval. It was about keeping the flame alive. So what does this parable mean for us? This 14th pattern of change holds a very specific evolutionary challenge. We were born to be a generator of creative prosperity, but the world may have convinced many of us to trade that inner flame for safety, status, or approval. On the physical plane, this shadow shows up as burnout, stagnation, underachievement, or overachievement with no soul. On the spiritual plane, it represents a compromise of one's original essence, a forgetting of why your soul chose this life, this body, and this path. And that forgetting is not your fault. It is part of our evolutionary journey as a species. We compromise first, we forget first, so that we can awaken to what we never lost. The shadow of this challenge is compromise, but not the kind born of wisdom. This is the compromise born of fear. The fear of being seen in your full creative power. The fear of being ridiculed, humiliated, or misunderstood. The fear that you, just as you are, will never be enough. This fear often arises between childhood and adolescence, when your ideas were mocked, your energy misunderstood, or your uniqueness treated as a threat to the system. So you learned to quiet your fire, and then you started trading your fire for external fuel, approval, a paycheck, status, reputation. That trade became the inner wound of compromise. And over time, it disconnected us from our core self-belief, leaving us emotionally resigned or emotionally enslaved. The worst part, one might look successful, but inside one feels empty. The complement to this challenge is the shadow of mediocrity, the fear of one's unique expression, which lies in Taurus. The repressive nature is to feel wooden, like a piece of furniture in the room. The reactive nature is to feel artificial. The dilemma that lies in that shadow is the dilemma of accumulation. So you can see how those two shadows feed off each other and those related fears. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you will reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your Venus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. In this shadow and evolutionary growth challenge lies the dilemma of self-belief. This challenge carries one of the deepest inner dilemmas, and that is, do I trust my inner fire, or do I compromise it for the sake of comfort, tradition, and inclusion? This is why so many people carrying this frequency of struggle in community or with leadership. They either suppress their gifts or they overextend to prove their worth. Both are rooted in similar fears. That if I fully embody who I am, I won't be accepted or I'll fail. But this shadow doesn't show up to punish you. It shows up to pressurize you into evolution until you choose not more strategy, not more productivity, but more alignment. Why does this shadow even exist? Because the grace cannot be received through performance. It can only be received through surrender. And compromise is the veil that one wears before we remember. So that we remember that we are like generators. We were never meant to just fit in. Our prosperity flows not from what we achieve, but from who we are when we are aligned with our true design, our true template. And in this higher frequency, this challenge expresses the gift of competence, the creative generator who knows their rhythm and trusts their flow. But they see even beyond that. And therein lies this grace of bounteousness, where one becomes a channel for abundance that uplifts everyone one touches. And that is not a mindset, it's a frequency. One that becomes activated not by striving, but by the devotion to one's essence. You aren't here to compromise. You are here to generate the future. If this resonated with you, take a moment to share your experience with the shadow of compromise below. What fire have you quieted? What brilliance have you been waiting to give yourself permission to express? This channel and series is to help support you through each shadow so that you can find your truth. If you like this video, great. You know what to do. If you want to subscribe to this channel, thank you so much. There will be more shadows to transmute through this series. There will be more gifts available to you by practicing those gifts. And by practicing those gifts, you'll embody more grace every day that will nourish your soul until the end of your days. So you remember, you don't need to chase abundance. You are abundance from within that needs to be channeled outward. And therefore, the abundance you channel from within will meet with abundance externally. This is how you align. Down below in the description, you'll find my email and website. There you can click the links there, contact me directly. You'll find out that there's also meetup groups that I host. They're kind of like support groups for divination system navigation, for emotional intelligence and mastery education, as well as emotional trauma release support. But if you feel like you've had enough of social media community channels and platforms, then just visit the website, look at the archives. The links are there for you to access the files. But remember, you can do this on your own, and on a spiritual level, you're not alone. But it's always great to feel the inspiration from the actions of others, that you can embody that inspiration yourself, almost like a contagion, a divine contagion, so that you can be inspired in doing the work yourself in your own unique, God-given way. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. God bless you. Namaste, and good life to all of you.